Jesus calms the storm, a journey of faith in the midst of chaos. Have you ever faced moments when everything seemed to fall apart around you? Situations where life's storm feels too big to confront? Today, we will dive into one of the most impactful stories in the Bible, the moment when Jesus, with just his words, calmed the wind and the sea. This is not just a narrative of supernatural power, but a profound lesson about faith, trust, and divine care amidst chaos. Prepare to reflect, be inspired, and strengthen your faith as we explore together this unforgettable crossing in the Sea of Galilee. If you enjoy content that edifies and touches the heart, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all notifications. Ready to go together. At dusk, Jesus went to his disciples with an invitation that seemed simple and direct. Let us go over to the other side. It was a call to cross something seemingly routine in the region of Galilee, but which would turn into a transformative and unforgettable experience. The disciples promptly left the crowd behind, boarded the boat where the master was already, and set out, confident. Other boats also followed, forming a small fleet. Little did they know that this journey would bring them face to face with the manifestation of God's power and make them confront the depths of their own faith. Every stroke and gust of wind was, in fact, a prelude to an unforgettable lesson on trust and surrender. At first, the crossing was calm, almost as a natural extension of the day. The gentle rocking of the boat and the familiarity of the lake calmed their hearts. Those who were fishermen knew well how to navigate those waters. Surely, there was room for reflections on the miracles and words they had heard from Jesus. Perhaps they shared with each other their thoughts on the Master's teachings while the horizon slowly became a veil of stars. Let us imagine their smiles as they recalled the healings, the teachings, and the attentive eyes of the crowd who followed Jesus wherever he went. But, as happens in life, calm often gives way to the unexpected. Just as in the Sea of Galilee, our lives can change drastically with events we do not expect. What seemed tranquil suddenly transforms into an overwhelming chaos. Suddenly, a fierce storm began to form. Intense winds blew across the lake, and violent waves began crashing against the boat. The vessel, once stable, now seemed about to be swallowed by the raging waters. This is such a familiar portrait of our lives. Days that start peaceful are often interrupted by sudden crises, health problems, financial challenges, or broken relationships. How many times, just like those disciples, are we surprised by circumstances that seem completely out of our control? In those moments, we feel vulnerable, like small boats at the mercy of much greater forces than ourselves. The disciples, even though they were experienced sailors, became terrified. Everything they knew about navigating seemed insufficient in the face of that storm. They did what we do in moments of crisis. They sought a solution in their own strength. When they realized that their efforts would not be enough, they turned to Jesus. But Jesus was sleeping at the stern of the boat, resting on a cushion. This contrast between the disciples' panic and Jesus' peace is itself an unforgettable lesson. While they were overwhelmed by fear, he rested, fully confident in the sovereignty of God the Father. It's a powerful reminder that our perception of disorder never undermines the control that God has over all things. This powerful image challenges us to trust in God's peace even in our most chaotic moments, recognizing that he is always aware of what we face. Finally, in their desperation, they woke him. "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" Their words were not only a cry, but also an implicit accusation, reflecting the human fear that God sometimes seems distant in moments of need. How many times in the storms of our own lives do we cry similarly? Anxiety makes us forget that God's presence in our boat is the guarantee that we will not be defeated by the circumstances, no matter how dark they may seem. And still, God is patient. He listens to us even when our words come from desperation and doubt. Jesus did not condemn the disciples for their fears, but invited them to look beyond them, to him as the source of true security. Jesus got up, and with quiet authority, he rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Be still." "Be quiet," immediately. The wind ceased, and there was great calm. The violence of nature, which seemed untamable, was suddenly silenced by the Creator's voice. This miracle was not only a demonstration of power, it was a declaration of Jesus' absolute dominion over all creation. For the disciples, it was like witnessing the tangible manifestation of divine glory in a moment of chaos. Just as the wind and waves obeyed, our inner storms are also transformed by Jesus' word, which has the power to bring order to our inner chaos. It is an invitation to surrender our anxieties to Him, trusting in His care and absolute control. The calm that followed was like balm for the disciples' frightened hearts, but Jesus did not stop there. He turned to them and asked, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" The question cut deep. It was not just a rebuke, but an invitation to introspection and growth. Their faith, still small, was confronted by a greater truth. Jesus was not just a leader or a teacher. He was the Son of God, sovereign over all things. Amazement overtook them, and they began to question, "Who is this, that even the wind and the sea obey Him?" This question is central to the narrative and, more importantly, to our lives. Do we truly know who is with us, or do we underestimate His power and presence? Perhaps the silence that followed the calm allowed each disciple to rethink their vision of who Jesus was and how to trust Him completely. This story speaks to us directly because we all face storms. They come without warning, bringing uncertainties and fears. They make us question our strength, our choices, and often even our faith. Yet, this Bible passage reminds us that even when we feel adrift, Jesus is with us. He may seem silent, but His presence is the anchor that keeps our boat from sinking. His peace does not depend on external circumstances, and He desires that we have that same confidence. Often, we find ourselves caught in questions and doubts, but Jesus remains the answer that transcends them all. Every storm in our lives is an opportunity for growth. It is in difficulties that we learn to depend not on our own strength, but on the power of God. The peace that Jesus offers us is not the absence of problems. It is His secure presence in the midst of them. Just as He calmed the sea that night, He has the power to bring peace to the turbulent waters of our hearts. His word is enough to change any scenario, no matter how desperate it seems. When we make space for God's movement in our struggles, we become witnesses of miracles that transform not only the exterior but also our interior. But this crossing also teaches us something even deeper. The storm did not surprise Jesus. He knew it was coming. Similarly, God is never caught off guard by the challenges we face. He does not merely accompany us in difficulties, but also prepares us to overcome them. In every moment of crisis, there is a divine opportunity to display His glory in our lives. The disciples boarded that boat thinking they knew Jesus, but they left it with a new revelation. Sometimes we need to face chaos to see God's absolute control. And even in the strongest winds, we can learn to rest knowing He will never abandon us. The disciples began the journey with a limited view of who Jesus was, but they ended the crossing with a revelation that would mark their lives forever. The storm, which at first seemed a threat to their survival, became an opportunity to experience God's glory in a new way. And so it is with us. Storms do not come just to test our faith, but also to reveal to us the power and care of our Lord. It is in complete dependence on Him that we experience the greatest transformations in our lives. Let us imagine for a moment the calm lake after the storm. The stillness that replaced the chaos was not only external, but also internal. In the silence that followed, the disciples' hearts were filled with reverence, gratitude, and holy fear. That crossing, which began as a simple journey, became a landmark in their faith journey. Perhaps looking at Jesus, they realized they would never be the same. What a powerful vision for our own struggles. Even when the waves scare us, the voice of Jesus is always ready to bring calm and new understanding of who He is. And what a lesson this brings to us. Difficult experiences can redefine our vision of who God is and how He works in our lives. Similarly, we are called to remember that storms do not have the final word. The voice of Jesus still resonates, bringing order to chaos and peace to our lives. His invitation to cross to the other side is also a call to trust, a reminder that He is in control, even when everything seems lost. If we keep our eyes on Him, we will not only survive the storms, but emerge from them as living witnesses of His power and love. Remember, no storm is eternal. Just as the sun shone again over the Sea of Galilee, our difficulties have an end, and in every end there is a new beginning. May we trust the Master, who not only calms the storms around us, but also transforms our hearts in the midst of them. May this story continue to inspire us, reminding us that no matter the strength of the winds or the size of the waves, the Master is with us in the boat, and that is all we need to face any challenge. The story of Jesus calming the storm reminds us of something fundamental. No matter how intense the waves we face, He is always with us in the boat. His words are enough to bring peace to the chaos and transform our hearts. Every difficulty is an opportunity for growth, a chance to see God's care and power working in our lives. May we keep this trust alive in every crossing we face. And now we want to hear from you. Which part of this story touched your heart the most? How can this lesson apply to your life today? Leave your thoughts in the comments. We want to know. Don't forget to share this video with someone who also needs to hear this message. Feel free to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell to not miss the next content. Let's keep spreading inspiration and faith. Until next time.